What happens is that, let's say you provision an EC2 instance, right?
What's up, everyone? John here, staff software engineer, 10 plus years of experience, and this is part 2 of building an open source alternative to T3 Chat.
Any sort of cloud, right?
You can see the previous stream to get more detail, but basically, like, this is T3 Chat. It's like a chat application, but it's offered at a lower price point compared to like OpenAI, which has their paid tier starting at 20 bucks a month. T3 Chat, only 8 bucks a month. So check it out. Mine, I'm trying to basically just clone it and then offer it at a cheaper price point. So no grand strategy, really, although there's an asterisk there. But basically I want to do $6 a month. And actually, so the asterisk is that I'll be providing 6 tools for $6 a month rather than just 1 tool. So 1 generic chat, which is what like T3 Chat does, and then 5 specialist trained AI models to help you with like behavioral interview and some other stuff that Latterly does. Okay, so let's go through the agenda. Today's video, like why is there a part 2 at all? At the end of the last stream, it was working. So we built a clone in an hour, including taking audience questions. So why hasn't it been deployed yet? Well, that's what we're going to talk about and fix in today's stream. The issue is that, I guess I'll just give away the ending, although this is not how it appeared to me when it first happened. The issue is that there is a library called Argon 2, which is now incompatible with the images that Vercel uses. What I found is I found a SigSev. Sorry, a SigSeg-V. Or do you pronounce it SigSev? And this is like an error, a memory error. And so I'll walk through how I fixed that. That's going to be the first part of the video. And then actually updating the code, reproducing the fix. Then there's some other things to do before we cut this thing loose. So the second sort of stage of this will be enabling monetization. Then eventually deploy to prod, and then we want to update this article here. So recently, I already created this different AI tool, and I think it's going to confuse people if I drop a new AI tool and they're like, is this the new AI tool or like the new AI tool? It's like really confusing. So this announcement article, I want to just update this blog article to make it clear. There's not 5 tools, there's 6 now. So the article basically says, hey, there's 5 tools and the first one's available for free. But the news story is there's 6 tools and the first 2 are available for $6 a month. So I want to change the language to make that clear. And then we can deploy to prod, and then I'll follow up with marketing bump and like observing and analytics and stuff. That'll be obviously outside of the scope of the stream, but I want to watch if demand, like how spiky is demand, and if a bunch of people sign up, then that's great. So I'm going to initially start it at a steep discount, even less than the target of 6. So if you're watching the stream, congrats, you'll be able to get it for cheaper. Maybe 3 bucks, and then ramp 4, 5, 6, and then see the demand change with those price. Basically measure the price elasticity is what I want to do. And besides the metric price elasticity that I want to observe, I also want the qualitative feedback. So one thing that I hear from some people is that they really like Claude, but I don't know like how much actual willingness to pay is behind those words. That's one of the tricks about social media analysis when you like just like look at people's posts. Okay, they're saying that, but how does that map onto actual willingness to pay? So I want to keep track, and feel free to drop in the chat if you have a strong opinion on this, but the cost of Claude, this is how much Claude costs with 0 margin, 0 profit, just like using the model itself. $3 per million input, 15 per million output. And in a typical user session, the overall context expenditure is biased to the output. So Claude will make, on average, responses that are more verbose than the user's input, usually. And so maybe you average these out, and instead of like 9 is the average, maybe like 10 or 12 is the average. So leaving room for a little bit of margin, I think 20 bucks per million, I could do a la carte if people want that. So like, let me know, drop a comment. Okay, I think that gives you all the background, and then just like more and more models, like everyone wants more models. So we're starting with the Gemini suite. The next one would be the R suites, like R1. And we'll see where we go from there. I'll let y'all drive it, basically. I think you get the background, or the agenda anyway. So let's get into this SIG-SAG-V issue. Like, what does this mean? How does this work? So I'll go to Vercel and show you a bunch of failed builds.
What Fluid
So-
has done, basically, Vercel's new architecture, is that it's smart enough to
So here
decide
is
whether
the current
this instance over here
production
is it
deployment,
IO
which is
waiting
actually
state or
old.
not.
This is
If
all the
it
way
is
back
an
from
IO
February
waiting state, can
7,
you just
and I was not even
redirect
able
the
to
request
recreate a
coming
deployment.
in,
I
let's
couldn't
say,
do a
to the
proper
same
rollback.
instance,
So this is
right?
a
Because
domain
you know that it's not
alias
using
on an
CPU
old
to run.
environment.
So this
So
new
it's a
request
pseudo
can
rollback
also
is the
be
way that I
used to start
stopped the
using that
bleeding.
system.
The issue
And even if it
started,
starts
here I can
using
show you when this
CPU, for
issue
example,
started.
There is a threshold limit which they
Last-
have put, for example, so that not all
Yeah,
requests
it started like
will
right
be
here.
CPU,
You see like
right? So this effectively is what Fluid Compute is from Vercel, where what
24-hour
they have
view is
tracked
not gonna have
that
it.
Whatever instance they are running, whatever
Yeah,
compute
it started like right
application
here.
they
I had like a
are
big spike in traffic, and then it went
they're
down.
somehow able to
And so
track
I thought it might be
whether
related
this
to the
compute
spike in
which is
traffic,
running
but memory
is
usage was
IO
fine.
waiting
So that was the
state
first
or
thing
not.
that I
If it is
investigated.
waiting for IO, they
We're
are
going to talk
able
through like what did I
run
investigate and how did I
both
fix
requests
it basically.
coming in fresh.
First thing is I looked at my logs.
And, yeah,
Logs are
that's
truncated,
all
but that's where it
right?
said
And of course, there are
SIG-SAG-V,
more
literally. Let's see
optimizations
if I
on top of
can
it, like
get to
figuring
those
out
logs.
How many requests are in IO waiting state and when to like start a new VM. and
Instead
so on
of
and so forth.
live,
But that's the
yeah,
basic
no, I
thing,
won't
right?
be
So
able to
that's
because it's
something
healthy
which
now.
you
So
already cracked
I'm on the
in
hobby
back
plan
when
for
you were
Vercel,
long run.
which means I only have like,
If you know about this,
I think 3 hours or something like that of logs. It's like very small window of observability.
I can tell you from a fact
So one of the solutions I explored is upgrading observability. And why did I not do that? Well, there's a couple reasons. One,
disaster, right? So this turned out to be
I use these analytics,
AWS Lambda for whatever our workload was.
and it could
Why?
and it could get
Because
really
Cloud
expensive
Run
really
does not
quickly,
support
basically.
proper
So
backend
going from
running.
hobby to
This
the
Cloud
lowest
Run
paid tier is like
function
$20 a month.
It's bad. I mean,
But with
in our
analytics,
use case, it's not good at all, because what
it's
we
not
have to
it's
do
not
in a lot
capped.
of
They give you like an
cases,
amount that
once
you
we
can
have
use, and when you go over that, they start charging you based on the amount of events. And there's a lot of events, so I could easily be spending way more than $20 a month, and I didn't want to do that.
Something which is slightly computationally heavy, and we don't.
And maybe I should do that, and maybe I'll do that in the future. In particular, if Laterally starts making money through models, I'll do that. The problem is it doesn't make any money today, so I have trouble spending any money.
Just don't.
If I did that, I would get access to production support, which would be great, because that could have potentially helped me. Although I'm not sure if they would have figured out the solution faster than me. But if I had that tool, I would have used it. Firewall is also interesting because when I got that spike, some of them were firewalled, so I was like, am I getting DDoS'd? The answer was no. Those firewalled requests subsided and the issue continued.
Into a stream request, you can complete the stream, and then you can do rest
These are
of the
all
tasks
looking healthy.
from
Where are
same
the
virtual machine. Cloud Run
broken
is a
deployments?
different
Yeah.
story. Maybe I'll cover it in a separate video, but it but why
A day
I'm
go, a
saying
day go.
about this is because Vercel's architecture.
Oh yeah, so here's the
mostly
interesting
Cloud
thing.
Run, so
The
it
builds
does
were
not
working.
have lab
The builds were not
limitations
failing.
of AWS Lambda.
They were throwing
Also, they can
500, so let me go to one of these.
execution with their wait until API.
This quick
is
fix
the
one
core
right
of
here.
this, and now let's
Yeah.
take a look at their landing page, which is full of.
So
apps.
here is a
But I just explained the actual stuff.
deployment environment. It's like a staging environment that you
Now,
can
will
validate
also
before you
understand
ship
when
it.
you're going through
And
the
you can see I get a
standard, you'll be
500.
able to understand everything.
And
So they're saying
maybe I can
serverless
show you the logs
content
on
in a
this.
serverless world,
Yeah.
right? So in function
So here's the
content,
logs
they
on
use
this
single
environment.
virtual function to handle
And this is what I was
multiple
seeing.
applications simultaneously, optimizing
No, this is
performance,
actually more
overall
informative than what I was seeing.
efficiency,
What I was seeing, it just
So again,
said
the reason Vercel is
SIG-SAG-V.
able to save some money here for
with
you
no
is because
log
they're not
messages.
provisioning more compute, right? So that's first thing.
Let's see if I can reproduce that for
Money,
you.
less compute means less money, so they are able to save there. Second thing is because your
Before
instance
these
is
quick
already
fixes, how
running
about this
and
one?
Node.js, for example, or any sort of thing is already running, the code is already warm. Node.js, for example, the V8 instance which is running this code, has already seen the code. It has converted it into
Nope.
bytecode. If your
These
code
are
is well
all
written,
more
it will also,
informative.
like, optimize the hot paths for that specific code, and it's able to leverage performance benefits of an existing run, right? So what it is able to do is that it's able to reduce your execution time also, because the assembly code that is now
Here's
generated,
main.
it's more optimized. So that is where both the things help. Less compute helps, and the optimized version of already running code.
Yeah,
also
there it is. So this is what I was seeing at first. The logs above can help with debugging the issue. Well, that was confusing because there weren't any logs above.
CPU using idle probably means waiting for IO or something, and complete is like.
So what did I do? I tried to roll back. And then the rollbacks gave me the other message, and eventually that led me down the rabbit trail that I was like, oh, this is related to Argon.
Right? You know these
Okay, so that's kind of how I saw the issue at first. And then I tried to reach out to support, and I realized that since I'm on the hobby tier, I only get community support. So I created this community support issue, and I logged notes meticulously and eventually the fix, so other people, if they run into the issue, hopefully they can fix it pretty quickly. So say I cannot reproduce the error locally. That's another interesting thing. If I built and ran it, both on my Windows and on my Mac computer, 200s, everything works. So this is particular to the Vercel production environment. And it started happening after this, but then I rolled back, and the same issue happened on rollback. So I was able to eliminate that it was a code change in that merge request. Alright, I tried rolling back. Once it was observed, it persisted. That's why the issue is called persistent SigSegV. And then I tried redeploying with a fresh cache.
And I want to understand what the pricing for you can also see that Vercel do acknowledge,
and that didn't help.
Like
Like redeploying an old build that was known to work.
An architecture like Fluid, but not.
Next thing I did, I checked on memory, and you can see the error rate here spiked up to 100%. It went from 0 to 100. And you can see I had all this traffic, and then it just boom, because the site went down. Obviously, nobody wanted to use the site anymore, which is a real bummer because it was like I think it was like a high watermark for my traffic before it crashed. I noticed 200s in the logs, so this helped me track down
so hobby is fine, you can just do whatever you want, Vercel.
An old stable build that I could use, even though rebuild wasn't working. At this point, I was seeing 200s in the logs for an old environment. And then I got the idea to use a domain alias, and that worked. It basically got my site back up and running, even though it was an old version. It was an old version without rollback, so it was a domain alias pointing to this existing deployment environment. It was like a staging deployment, but I did a domain alias. Does that make sense?
This is one of the things which I'm talking about.
And so this is describing how I found that. I found with VercelBot was like still polling these environments, and it pulled them and it got 200, which is how I found this. So I found this by looking at my logs. Here's the syntax to use the domain alias, and it worked. And then I went to sleep.
If it goes down, that will go down for you. They'll probably have like.
And then I woke up and I thought, oh, well, this is an old build from about a week ago. Is Vercel going to purge it? And what I found is the answer is no. As long as it is being used by domain pointing, Vercel will keep it alive. So that's good news.
Enterprise can have up to 4 gigabytes of memory per run. So again, like these are the things which are good.
At this point, I'm saying there's some sort of dependency change that obtained without respect to my package.lock.json. At this point, I started looking through my package.json, which records dependencies. I started looking through it and saying, okay, well, did any of these change? So in a bunch of places, I use the caret syntax, which is like you can use this version or newer. And I'll show you the code for that.
Cold starts, all of that. It has a similar limit of 250.
So this syntax, like Geist, this might end up using 1.39, for instance. So at this point, what I did is I looked through all of these, not manually, with the assistance of AI, and I said, are any of these packages known to yield SigSegV? And the answer was yes, and there was a few of them. Maybe, I don't know how many. There's a few of them, but then I looked at those libraries if they had a new release recently. And the answer for all of them was no. None of them have had a new release. But in browsing for have they had a new release, I came across complaints about Argon 2. So I got suspicious about Argon 2, basically.
So you can see over here, I'm showing.
And so I working with AI, I asked it for what's a stable old version of Argon 2
So any business that's hosted on Fermyon
that people say works. So AI can like scan the web if you use the right model, and it was able to quickly synthesize that there is a version that these people who are complaining, a lot of them say this version fixes it. So I force downgraded Argon 2, and that seems to fix the issue. That's basically the solution.
It's going to be
Another thing I tried that didn't help is I tried directly publishing my working local build. So I said, well, maybe Vercel build is not working. But there's this ability to deploy pre-built. And this ended up being a side quest that did not help. So I got the local build working, and then I tried to build from local using pre-built. The problem is, when I shipped my image that was pre-built, Vercel rebuilt it anyway, even though I didn't want to. And it turns out that's by design. Like, the Vercel deployment just won't use something that's pre-built on Windows or Mac.
Let me show you something interesting. Let me show you an actual production use case of why I'm talking about this. What I'm showing you right now is an effective...
Okay, so here I'm trying so before I tried to force downgrade package versions, I tried to force downgrade Node. So one of the things that I noticed is I was using this syntax for Node, and maybe this has been like working, but then maybe Vercel upgraded a minor version on Node, and that created an issue. So I force downgraded it to 20, and that didn't help. That didn't help.
If you look at the timer, if you start it and end,
but then I saw the other logs that were clearer logs in my preview environment, and I was like, okay, it's Argon 2. And then I force downgraded it, and it fixed things. So that's marked as the solution. Here's the version that worked, 31.2. Okay, so that walks you through the issue and the fix. Oh, by the way, my son at my house somehow triggered the actual fire alarm in my house while I was working on this, so that was fun.
For execution, and you shift the price
just to give you a picture of the day, what the day was like.
Basically drops by.
All right, so now let's go incorporate the code.
And that is what happens when you shift from AWS Lambda to a...
So I have this use sharp pull request, which is I tried adding sharp and then I removed it. So that's just the name of the pull request because it was the first commit. But we're going to copy this, and I'm going to try to reduce the code changes here because there's a bunch of stuff here, and this eventually passed. I guess I'll show you.
Time itself, which is great. I mean,
so here's the try downgrade Argon 2.
For example, I was looking
and the preview environment works. It doesn't 500. Okay. But I don't think so that's how I know that this PR works, but I think it includes too many changes. So I want to try to reduce that.
But again, I can understand why.
So let's do some code now.
As a company, because I mean, again, if architecture doesn't.
So here I will get pull.
They cannot also pass the cost savings to you, but nonetheless, it would have been interesting. I don't know. This tweet looks very cryptic. This is the effective outcome.
You can see there's the node 20, for instance. I want to undo that.
This is going to be an outcome.
So I will make a new branch. Quick fix 2.
That's all we are going to do for now. But
and I'm currently even with that other branch.
Extremely cool to see that Vercel's fluid,
but I don't want to be. I'll keep
instead of wall time.
Yeah, I don't even need the extensions to change.
In the release blog as well for CPU time.
I really just want this change, I think.
Has not changed that model. Yeah, because I mean,
I tried modifying the Vercel build version. I thought maybe if they upgraded their library, that could break the build basically, even without my code changing. That also didn't help. So you can see there was a large element of guess and check here.
A cool thing regardless, but I'll still probably stick to Cloudflare functions, Cloudflare workers for things that are extremely IO bound, but Vercel at the same time for things which are like, you know, you have to use Vercel for them. So yeah, that's it for this video. Hopefully you learned something new. I'm gonna see you in the next video.
So here, sure, downgrade Argon 2.
In this video, I'm going to be going over everything that you need to know to think of an app idea, build it, and sell it and market it on the internet to make your very first dollar off an app that you built. Now, in terms of why I think that you should listen to me on this topic is the fact that over the past 3 years,
and let's see if this works. And if this works, I'll close the other PR.
Where I started making a few small changes to start actually making a couple.
Build failed. What's going on here?
My latest products, a month of
missing script for Vercel install. Yep. Okay. So one of the things that I did is I changed in my settings the script name from install Vercel to Vercel install.
I am much closer to you than the other people on the internet that are making $30, $50, $100,000 a month.
Which one of these is it under?
I'm not claiming to be an expert on this. I'm literally just a random guy on
this is how you get to the support tab, by the way.
Make money off of them and market them on the internet. So I hope you find this video useful. and enough of me trying to beg you to watch this video. Let's just get into it. So step number 1, coming up with an app idea. I'm going to be very straightforward with this.
I think it's
Don't
under
come up with a
deployment
new idea.
protection.
Copy
Let me
what
take this
already
off screen real
exists
quick.
out there. One of the most common questions that I get asked in my YouTube comments or in my Instagram DMs is, how do you go out and validate your idea? And if you watch a lot of other startups,
Oh, right, because I went to my account settings when I should have gone to my
Go
project
out
settings.
and talk to your
Okay, so
do user interviews, iterate.
here's where I was at
See what
previously,
does your product
and
really
now
solve
I'm
the
going
problem? And
back
that's
to
all
Laterally in
good advice,
particular,
especially if
and now I'm
you're
going to
trying build a
Laterally's
billion-dollar
settings,
company that has
and
huge
these are the
growth.
production
If you are struggling to make your very first dollar
build
on the
commands,
internet,
basically.
You don't need to go through all that because you should just go.
Why
out
did I
and
change
build
it
out
to
a
Vercel
product
install
that
instead of install
by
Vercel?
just building
Because
an
I
app
created a
that already
collection
exists
of
out there,
scripts,
other people have already done the hard part of validating that market.
and
for
I
you.
wanted
You
to
need
group
validate
them
the
under
market. You know that it's
Vercel.
valid.
So you
And
can
I know
see
some
under
of
this
you are
other
gonna
pull
have a little bit of
request,
an ego, just like I did in the beginning, where you're like, but
I made Vercel build, Vercel local build, Vercel deploy preview from local, and Vercel
Wait, stop.
preview.
You're done.
But in now from the vantage point of where I am, I think these are not necessary. So I think we can go back to the previous way,
really funny in software businesses,
which was install Vercel instead of Vercel install.
Someone's always really quick to say that actually already exists, and then I'm like, okay, why can't there be 2 apps to the same existing solution? That's almost like saying if someone wants to open up a hamburger restaurant and someone's like,
Okay.
actually, McDonald's already exists. You have
So
to
now I'll just
No,
redeploy
There
this.
can be multiple restaurants that provide hamburgers. Similarly, if there's one problem, there can be multiple apps that solve that problem. Sorry, tangent over. Let's get
See if
back
I
to the topic.
refresh here, then
I'm
this should be in
personally a big
progress.
fan of
Okay.
copying an
So
idea
now it should be
and
using the new
then
command,
differentiating it later on with your own features. And in
which
fact,
is also
my
the old
current app,
command.
which is called Monty.ai. It is an AI-powered meeting recording tool that records meetings for you and transcribes them. And I'm going to be very honest and own up to the fact that the reason why I built Monty in the first place.
See
was
how it's
because
going
I
this
saw a lot of
time.
Other AI meeting recording apps and tools out there making a ton of money, and I was like, okay, clearly there's a big market for this. So in the beginning, I kind of just rebuilt what the other apps were already doing, and now over time though, I've slowly differentiated it by adding particularly a meeting co-pilot feature, which like listens in on meetings in real time and answers questions from those meetings based off of information that you upload. So that's a brand new feature that the other apps don't have. But that differentiation didn't really come until I built out that base version of the app and started making money. And the results of me just copying an idea that already exists was the fact that on launch day, I was able to scale to $1,000 of monthly recurring revenue within like 1 or 2 weeks because the market was already validated. I knew people wanted to buy this product because the other people have already validated that market for me. I would say go out on the internet, go to like Twitter, Reddit, or even just scrolling through your TikTok, Instagram, or YouTube feed. You're gonna see certain apps
Cool.
and marketing
All right,
tools do, and
looks
if
like
you
it
find those
succeeded.
particular
There's a
apps,
bunch of stuff we could do here, but none of it really
yourself,
seems
just get
essential, so I'm
after
going to
it and
avoid
rebuild
it.
that same
We could
particular
update
app. Number two
Prisma,
is how to build your application. Now, I know some of you are
the
gonna have a
browsers
little bit of
list,
coding experience watching this
fix
video,
some of these
you're gonna
warnings.
Have no coding experience watching this video. So while the experience level of the
So there's the build. The build
might
works,
vary in terms of their
but let's make
development
sure
skills, I
that
do
the
think that
preview
the
environment
advice
is
I'm gonna
also
give applies
working.
to literally anyone from all skill levels.
And so what could prevent this in the
I'll
future?
say
Adding
build
integration
your apps out
tests
there.
could fix
There's
this in the
so much
future, because
confusion.
I would have
What's
seen
the
by
best
integration
text?
tests
Should I
that the
do
build
Remix? Should I do
passed,
Svelte? Should I do
but
Next.js?
the
Or
site is
Vue.js?
not
So
actually
much
functioning.
Okay, there's so much
All right, so
noise
this
and
preview looks
nuance
great.
on that topic.
And you can
I
see now I
really
have
should
the
just ignore all of
chat
it. My
here.
personal 2
It's
cents
not
on this
gated
topic
by
is
money,
picking your
but
tech
it
stack
is
with
gated
the
by
tech stack that has
authorization.
the most developer support out there.
Okay.
You don't want to be using a tech stack that not that many developers use, and then when you run into a bug, no one can really help you out. Even the LLMs can't help you out because they are trained off of the data out there on the public internet. And
So
if it's not that popular, you're going to get less developer support. So in my opinion, the most
Yeah, we can
by
merge
far
this.
the most popular tech stack out there for building web applications is Next.js. Yes, is Next.js perfect?
Then
No,
we'll be
I
able
really
to
don't think
close
so.
this
But
one.
It is one of the most popular, if not the most popular web development framework for full stack app development, and that is what I use to build all of my applications. So don't get lost in the weeds, don't get stuck in the analysis process of trying to pick the best framework or best tech stack out there. And
Closed
if you
in favor
host
of
your Next.js
407.
application, I recommend using Vercel. Once again, Vercel is not perfect, it's expensive as hell.
Good. And now we'll make a new
It's
feature
for
branch
anything
off
that you
of
should
the
optimize
5
your
LLMs.
use rather than the quote-unquote best solution. Right now is not the time to
And
be a
we
tech
will
nerd.
do
You can save your tech nerdiness for another time. All right?
monetization
And then if you
next.
want to build a mobile application, I personally recommend using Expo, which is based off of React Native. You can build cross-platform apps off of iOS and Android using one united code base. I do know some of you nerds out there are getting your pitchforks being like, well, actually, Capacitor.js is the better solution, or actually, you should build 2 separate native applications in Kotlin and Swift. Stop. You're done. Get out of here. You're cooked. Chat. Get him out of here. Get out. Get out of my channel right now. All right. I don't care what's the best. I just think that Expo has a really great developer community, and oftentimes most people just want to build an app for both Android and iOS. And I think Expo is the easiest solution to do that. But then if you're building an app just for iPhones or just for Android, then I think building with Swift or Kotlin is pretty valid as well.
Okay, so here's a bare pull request before we made the code change.
And then for your backend provider for both your mobile application or your web application, I personally recommend.
Here is the production deployment. Let's make sure that this works too. Yep, okay, so this was promoted to prod now. Yep, and so there's the chat button in prod now. And this is the actual new one. So here I want to do a check that you're not just logged in, but you have premium. So let's do that now. File-based routing, I'll look for chat page.tsx. Here it is. In here, I say if you don't have a session, then like sign up and use Laterally Chat. But what I want to do is I actually want to ensure that this is a premium user. So here's the Laterally session. The subscription tier is already there. Yep. All right. Okay, so please sign up or log in to use Laterally Chat. Here we need to update it to use premium. Improve the session check to ensure the user has the premium. Okay. Improve the session check to ensure the user has the subscription tier premium. Improve the user messaging to indicate already signed up. Okay, so improve the user messaging to indicate that premium is required. If the user is logged in but does not have premium, give them that call to action. If they are not logged in, include a query parameter to indicate they are from the chat page so that I can redirect them to purchase premium after signing in or signing up. Oh, here I used the chat. I should have used the composer. So it's only changed one file. I guess that looks right. Okay, let's see what this looks like. Chat now. That's a different chat. Yep, that's confusing. So let's go to my settings. You are signed into a premium account. Very good. Let me try to log out. I don't know if that one has... premium. I think it has an admin permission. Okay, so the easiest way to do this, I think, is going to be to manually change the database and update my own record. So I have that on another screen. What is my user ID? $416. Okay. Subscription for $416. Is premium, and now I'm changing it to free. Right? I think that has gone through. Now I can verify if I log in and go to my settings. You're signed into a free account, great. So now if I go to chat, a premium subscription is required to use Laterally Chat. Please upgrade to premium. Good. And then if I click this, it takes me to an upgrade page. That's not the right destination, but that's okay. The right destination is this Join Now button. And I'll be reducing this from 40 to 3 or 4. Okay. Client reference ID. Let me go back. Yep, so this is the way I did it. This is the way I did it. We're using the link? Yes, we are. Excuse me. Sign up with a redirect. Okay, that's good. But here, this link is wrong. And this link should say, we should use the Stripe payment link. I'll just duplicate it for now. I guess that should be like a nice constant somewhere. So this is the Stripe Premium payment link. Looks like Cursor carried over the value properly. Good job, Cursor. Okay, so this will be the payment link. And then that's the session user ID, but it's possibly undefined, so we need to take care of that. And I'm cutting this. This is the href. I don't care about the other bits. Okay, I think we're doing good. Now the session.user, now I resolve that issue, right? My linter might get mad about the way that I did that. Let's just see. Let's see if the linter complains. Okay, upgrade to premium, and this works well. Good, it takes me to the same screen. This experience could be improved. The way T3 chat does it is you get like a few messages first. So we'll do that in a different pull request. npm run lint. There's a particular lint error where it tells me to prefer the safe navigation operator. All right, but I'm not seeing the issue. We can fix these warnings here. So I'll do that in a separate commit. So the commit here is, right, make sure that they have premium. This is working. If I log out, oh, it's not running. I'll just quickly verify that it works in that case too. Okay, please sign in or log in, sign up or log in. And then we did, and we checked it with free. And now I'm going to flip it back to paid. Ooh, okay, good thing I tested that. Looks like there's a code issue here. Looks like there's a code issue here. So this says subscription tier free. Did I change the wrong one? Nope, I just didn't save. I updated the database and I didn't save it. Okay. No, I did change the wrong one. You're signed into a premium account. It's also set to premium by user ID. So why am I getting free? Sign into a premium account. Okay, good thing we're testing this, huh? So the server auth session. Oh, I think it's because it was that way when I logged in. So let me log out. Yeah, it's like saving it in the session that way. That makes sense. Yeah, and now it works. Got it. So my database updated, but my JSON Web Token didn't update. That's the issue. And I don't really want this to show on this page, but that's okay. Let's change that too. Okay, it's not added on this page, it's just following us from the home page. I think this is fine. I could force disable it on this page, but I think that's fine to do that later. I'll stop there for the stream. Thanks for being here, y'all. So I'll merge this in, and then I will, outside of the stream, update that blog article to hopefully eliminate some more confusion. Thank you so much for being here. Poppy Sensei, good to see ya. Have a good one.